y'all. I'm gonna do a demonstration for y'all. I'm on repeat, blah blah blah. I know I get it, and y'all probably tired of listening to me. That's if y'all even hearing my shit, because I am so suppressed. It's insane. But we're talking about SNAP programs, the 401ks, the cutting of the Social Securities, and all these concerns about the school lunches, so on and so forth. I got an issue with asking for a higher federal minimum wage and relying on the midterms. The purpose behind that, my issue with that is our accountability and what is it that we're doing different and what actions are we ready to take. So let me give you an example. I even bought the fat dumb marker to write this shit out for y'all so y'all can see it. I'm gonna give you a visual at the end so you can photo snap it. Let's go with 42 million people. Doing this again. 42 million people. Matter of fact, I'll just show you as I go. 42 million people. Let's just assume this is really the black community, to be honest with you. I gotta just put it out there. I was trying to go around that. But just understand that on an average, every year, the African American community spends $2 trillion as consumers. So what I want to say is, okay, since the country's divided, let's go with 150 million people. Now, 150. We take that 150 million people, because the country's divided, and look at the 42 million people that spend $2 trillion a year. Let's put that together. How does that add up to anything? Let's assume that every 42 million of us here in the United States, there's a population of 350 million of us. 42 million people average $2 trillion per year in spending as consumers. All right, well, 42 million goes into 150 million, 3.5 times. So that is 3.5. 3.5, you multiply that by that 2 trillion, you get $7 trillion as consumers alone. So now, I'm not a math whiz here. This is the crazy part, but just stop and think about this. If we can blow 7 trillion as consumers on a yearly basis, I mean, what goes into that? Think about it. Your SNAP program, for one. Your school lunches, right? There's your 401k, that's your retirement, and your Social Security, which in part is also a retirement. Now, the beauty of this shit is all of these programs, these budgets that are being, cut, these social safety nets, that is all tax funded. That comes out of our pocket. So again, why are we fighting for a higher federal minimum wage if we're just gonna get into a higher tax bracket? So you might have seen recently that Mondani just refused a raise of 18%. That would have brought him up to $305,000 fucking dollars a year. How many of us could fucking go for that right now? Exactly. I like his style though, so we can't really argue with that. Now, Bernie Sanders is saying that we can generate $4.4 trillion by taxing the rich. That's another thing I have an issue with, because how long is that going to take? But Bernie's on point. He's, why would he lie, right? And I'm not going to argue with the man, but the thing is, again, how long is that going to take? And furthermore, why are we relying on that? We blow $7 trillion as consumers easily. Mind you, in 2024, we spent $19 trillion as a country, like as consumers. 21 trillion in 2025, and here we are 2026. We're on track to spend $22 trillion. Now, I'm sorry, but if you add that up, that's more than the national deficit. We obviously don't need shit from these people. In fact, if you stop and think about it, they need us. We don't need them. So here's the idea. Here's the proposal. This is what I've been at for 2 years. The suggestions that are being made Even Kamala Harris with 25 grand for the first-time home buyers. Bernie with the $4.4 trillion for taxing the rich. And he also brought up another legislation he was trying to pass about getting us 12 grand a year or something along that line. Of course, because I'm not a celebrity, I guess, or a politician. I don't have no popularity and I can't get y'all to listen. So if you're still here, think about this. For the last 2 years, I've been telling you, I think, you know what, we can generate $3 to $6 trillion for ourselves. We can average about 10 to 20 grand for ourselves. On top of that, not only have I been saying that, I've been also saying we can do this tax-free. I don't know why this message doesn't get through. So now, we got the elite and these corporations and the churches. On top of the fact we spend $7 trillion as consumers, we subsidize all that. These people get their tax breaks and the churches make the money they make out of our pockets as well. Just like the budgets and the programs that the government is cutting, we pay for all this. So if you put those three categories together, the working class, the churches, and the elite, and the corporations, right? You put those three together, we're the only ones that are working. The working class. That's our tax dollars. Again, we don't need them. They need us. So everything I'm saying really short of saying, let's shut this bitch down, but I'm not really trying to go there. There's a better solution. And we could stop relying on these people and rely on ourselves. So the idea here is we create the system that allows us to spread the wealth amongst ourselves. And the way we make this a tax-free system, now we're up there with the churches and the elites. We have a tax-free incentive because, why? Loans and donations are not taxable. So we create the system that allows us to spread the wealth amongst ourselves. The exchange of currency is loans and donations. I'm going to break it down for you. That same 7 trillion, let's go back to that real quick. If you divide that evenly amongst 150 million people, check this out. That's $46,666. If you take that same $7 trillion and you divide it evenly amongst 350 million people, which is the population, that is a 20K even. Going back to what I said, we can generate about $3 to $6 trillion for ourselves. Top it off with about 10 to 20 grand a year, tax-free. Mind you, I honestly believe we can do more than 10 to 20 grand for each other through this system. But if I'm being reasonable, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to cut that 7 trillion in half. We're going to go back to the 3.5. 3.5. That only means that if through this system we generate $3.5 trillion, that 46,000 that I mentioned, we cut that down to 23K, and that 20K turns into 10K. There's your 10 to 20 grand a year tax free. We don't need shit from these people. We don't need them. They need us. We need to get ourselves. We need to be fighting for a tax-free incentive for once in our lives. This is a fucking direct investment in yourself and in your children's future. And this is how you avoid your children getting into that rat race, this fucking endless hamster wheel. And now you free up monies for yourself to invest in IRAs, mutual funds, and trust funds. That's how you replace not only the SNAP program, your 401k, and your fucking Social Security.